Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Um, this is a stream for a swift and successful onboarding, a narrative game that Aaron and I worked on early.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Aaron's here. Hi, Aaron. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Uh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can continue introducing the
Oh,
game
no, for
first.
sure. You're all
I
good.
am also here. Hello, I'm
Yes,
Aaron.
Aaron is here. I'm here. This is a game we made in early 2020. I believe April. I don't know.
I believe so.
Yeah, and it's a narrative game. It's really, really fun. We had a lot of fun working on it, and we never actually did like a formal postmortem or talked much about it. It was for a jam, so whenever the game released, we were super like, at least my brain was frazzled, so we didn't ever get a chance to just talk about it. So this is going to be something where we play the game, discuss what went well, what we liked, how we made it. Um, yeah, just a casual conversation. And my name is Brad. I did the programming, and then we both helped with writing and stuff. And Aaron, introduce yourself.
I'm Aaron. I use she or they, and I did all of the art assets, which was a little bizarre considering I don't really consider myself much of a visual artist. So that was kind of me pushing myself to do visuals for a jam for once because I usually work on just music and sound, and I also did music and sound. So I spent a lot of time working on compressing all the different vocals samples that we had. Thanks to Catherine Tull, who was a fantastic voice actor to work with. We I think she really like brought the line to life. Um,
Yeah,
or the
absolutely.
character that we were, but I don't want to spoil too much because I figure we can probably get across that bridge when we get to it. But um,
Yeah.
it's narrative driven, but it has a narrator, so to speak.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you also did the writing. We co-wrote this thing.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
like the best part of it, the meat and potatoes of it. So I'll just start playing it, and then we'll sort of talk and discuss everything. We're going full screen. Ooh, ooh. Oh, turn on the subtitles for the stream. A
I
game
don't know
by.
if you can hear that, but that was my old computer turning on that I recorded
I
because the
remember
fans spin up really loud every time.
you were like, we were in jam mode, and you were like, I have to get some volley, and this went up. Okay, here we go. Lauren Dice Game, which means this game.
There's lore in this game.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
Hey, I'm
Oh,
Lauren, your
game volume is a
orientation
little high,
coordinator.
someone says.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I'm
excited
gonna turn
about
this
working
down.
in e-commerce? I know, it was literally the only job available in your county, but
1 second. We are going to go to volume mixer.
Thanks, Windows.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Let's try this out for
you
Ties.
do know what e-commerce is,
We're gonna
right?
take it down a little bit more, so you can really hear us.
Okay, so basically we sell products
And
to
let me
people
know if
on the internet.
let me know,
I
Steve,
know,
if
it's
you can lower it
crazy.
even more. Just let me
Try
know.
not to pass out. Anyway, you're here as a customer service rep, which we're kind of short on right now. So your job application couldn't have come in at a better time. So I'll just get you situated here, and we'll go through the onboarding process together, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, the customer service terminals haven't been updated in like a decade, but we retrofitted them with network cards. Color screens in this economy? Okay, so this next part is a script, so bear with me.
Oh, I can't wait.
Congratulations on your exciting new career path here at Snexus, where technology and logistics take the next step forward. Ugh. I am your
That
assigned
still gets
orientation
me.
coordinator, here to help you get comfortable with your daily tasks here at Snexus Technologies. To ensure a swift and successful onboarding,
She said the
please
thing.
pay close attention to
Oh,
all
she said the
instructions.
thing.
Please give all cell phones, pagers, and recording devices to your nearest Nexus security officer to ensure that the wavelengths transmitted by said devices do not interfere with critical onboarding equipment. Please let your orientation coordinator, that's me, I don't know why they word it that way, Please let your orientation coordinator know if you have any questions. Okay, great. That's out of the way. Hey, so boss man needs you to sign this
Lauren, so
contract
good.
before we get started, to protect the
True.
fancy trade secrets we've got and all that. It's the usual. Just we can sue you if you leak classified documents and email, to waive your right to sue Snexus in a court of law for any damage or otherwise to your person or property. Yada yada, death and dismemberment. I mean, it's all mainly for the warehouse staff. Just click I agree and hit submit and we can move on here.
All right. Now, Lauren will actually
Yeah, just
continue to try
click
to
that
get
little
you to
checkbox at the bottom and then click
rush
the
through the
submit
game
button.
here. But yeah, so that the
You've
beginning, there's a
used
lot to talk about
computer
there.
before, right?
You've used
Just with
Do
the
it.
Oh
mouse.
my
Left
gosh.
click.
Left click. Oh my goodness.
I'm on salary.
We could go
Please.
read through it. It's kind of
There's a lot of good juice here. So the point of the game, for those who haven't played this, this is a classic. I later on, after development, I guess there's a actual term for this kind of game. Some people call it a "do not press the button" game. And the story behind this is we were doing a game jam, and we were like, "What kind of game do we want to make?" And Aaron and I, we played. What was that game? It was Dr. Mart's.
Oh yeah, so it was made by the creators of the
Crows.
Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
And it's called Dr. Langiskov, the Tiger and the Terribly Cursed Emerald, a Whirlwind Heist, which is a bonkers name on its own, and I love it. But it's a game where you just essentially do nothing, and it's kind of a just sort of a walk around and like press buttons, and the narrator interacts with the player in a very natural way. And I've always wanted to make a game that was kind of like that for the player, where like their actions are responded to by an actual character in the game, and the choices they can make have responses.
Yeah.
So we designed all the UI to have some sort of unique something that happens if you decide to do something different. So if there's a button anywhere on screen, it has a purpose.
Including, we'll get to that, but there's so many things going on. But yes, it's like do not push the button, and like that's the core of the game here. Is basically everything you do and combinations of things you do. We wanted there to be like a response from Lauren. So the classic thing, we could agree and submit, or we could hit. What do you want to do, Aaron?
Let's just follow the rules the first time
Sounds
through.
good. Yeah, we'll follow the rules.
Great. Let's get you clocked in. I went ahead and activated your time card program. Go ahead and double click on it to open it up.
And there's another layer too, where
It should be a little time clock icon on your desktop.
she will continue to talk on different things.
The desk.
So we'll open it
cool.
up.
Now click clock in so you can get paid.
All right, we'll just clock in.
Perfect. Go ahead and close out of this program now.
Sounds good.
I went ahead and disabled the time card program. Normally you would have access to all of your programs during a typical workday, but to smooth out onboarding, we enable and disable them as we go. Don't
Also
ask.
because
the head honchos are control
it
freaks.
helps
Okay.
a lot.
I just enabled your inbox program. Open it up so I can train you on email.
It made things a little easier.
Yeah, there's a reason why we disabled
It's
and
time
enabled
for
the
email.
programs.
But we can just make it make sense in lore. It's fine.
Yeah.
Electronic
That was the
letters, as I
biggest.
call them.
It's fun to just add context to things.
Oh, great. So here's your inbox. Oh crap, those are Carl's old emails. Sorry about that. Wonder where he ran off to.
Well, a
Anyway,
little bit of
This is where you'll receive mail regarding
curiosity
your job,
starts seeping
like
in
disciplinary write-ups,
about poking
time off
around
request
and
null
finding
notices,
things.
and invitations to the annual mandatory barbecue. You should have a welcome email from the company to read. Protocol says you have to read it before we move on. Oh, and I also sent you something funny I saw the other day. When you're all done reading those, just close your inbox and we can get back to business.
All right. Welcome to the Snexus team. Welcome, employee. Blah, blah, blah. You work here now. This email is for confirmation. It's so like, our data shows 94% of these employees do not read these. Congratulations, you're an anomaly. We look forward to working you to death. Oh, with you. Okay, cool. And then this is like one of my favorite, most wholesome lines in the whole game. Here we go.
Isn't this funny? I just had to send it to you.
This is I mostly wanted to sort of capture that feeling of, you're at a job and someone sends you something that they think is really funny or really really like cute or something, and you just kind of smile and nod politely and you're like, yeah, 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 it is, thank you. But it's just not something that you're interested in or something like that. So like there's been plenty of times where I've just like politely kind of like, yeah, yeah. So the way I wrote this section was supposed to be like, it's just, hey, check out this cat. He's just standing there like a person. Haha, I couldn't not send it to. It's just a cat photo. Like, I don't, like, there's nothing particular. He's not like jumping off anything or like doing a trick or nothing like
It's
that.
just
It's just
something.
a cat photo,
And for
which, I guess, maybe they intended to send you this photo to make you feel less weirded out by all the other really obvious red flags working at this company.
and the beauty, like the other added layer, Aaron did all the art for the game, and for this image and the beginning intro images, the process was like finding stock photos and then just like, um, right? Didn't we just like
Yeah.
deep fry them?
So the actual images themselves, there's no way I could have like convincingly drawn those and made them look like email attachments. So I just found stock photos and plugged them into Photoshop and changed. I just made them all indexed color. Um, so it all just works with our color palette.
Yes,
And then I scaled them down to fit our pixel size and all that.
it's fantastic. All right, we'll continue.
Okay, I disabled the inbox. I just finished setting you up with CustoCall. Go ahead and open that up.
Here we go.
This is the bread and butter of your position. Basically, you'll get incoming calls from our customers here. Typically, it's them asking questions they could answer by looking at their customer profile online. Some of our customers aren't the most computer literate. Like you, I guess. You're the only employee I've trained that is this scared of clicking on stuff. It's impossible to hang up a call from your end.
So there's
It's
lines that
company
only
policy.
play if you do
So,
certain
try to grin
things.
and bear it if a
Just to
Yeah.
customer
kind of
has
like
some
make it seem
colorful
like
language for
your
you.
your actions as
I'll
a
show you
player
how
are
to handle a
affecting
customer's phone
things.
call, and then you
Because
can give it
if
a
you
try.
take a really long time
Sound
to
good?
click on things, or
Speak of the
whatever, we
devil.
just have like
Thank you for
little
calling
bonus
Snexus
lines.
Technologies. This is Lauren. How can I assist you today?
Yeah,
Oh, this is gold.
hi. I ordered a copy of the collector's edition of Gloom 2, and I got a sock.
Oh, well, I,
Like, not even, like, a fresh sock. Just a used, dirty sock.
I'm sorry to hear that. Could I have your order number so I can provide you with further assistance?
Yeah, it's 234089.
I love the tapping. It's so cool.
Okay, so it looks like that was a mistake. I'll go ahead and process a refund for you and send out another package.
It looks like that
Yeah,
was a mistake. Is
okay.
probably my
Thank you.
favorite line of the
I
game,
guess
Yeah,
I'll just
and we
keep playing Gloom 1
because
until it
a
shows
line
up.
that we
like
recorded.
it
Like I
couldn't
have.
have been a mistake. Like
Been.
someone could
Yeah.
Have
order
a
a
good
dirty
day, sir.
sock from your company. Just
Okay.
making sure.
Yeah. And
Oh,
fun
thank
fact.
God, he hung up. Okay, don't worry. You got this.
So you can't hang up the call. So
Here,
they have to hang
you
up the
take
call
this
from
one.
company
I'll
policy.
be here to coach you
Um,
along.
Fun
You should
fact:
take the call.
the voice of that was Egypt, who still hasn't played this game. I need to call it.
You're supposed
I'll pick up this one.
to answer those?
Hello? Hello?
What are you doing?
Is anyone there?
Say something.
Hey, honey, I told you. They never answer the phone.
Well, public speaking wasn't on your resume, I guess. We can always put you on live chat. Okay, so at the end of
Yay.
your shift, which is now,
You
a
can't
That
report
was
talk to
mostly
the
just a
game.
be
joke
sent
of
off to
like
management.
there's
It's
no
just
mic
called
support in the game.
report.txt. Should be on the desktop. Just right-click it, click
It's so
send,
funny,
and then click the reports email, which should be reports@snexustech.com.
Thank you, Lauren. Let's we'll send it.
Right-click? You know about
To
right-clicking,
reports,
yeah?
yeah.
Awesome. You're a natural. I mean, aside from not really talking on the phone at all, we all have our quirks.
All
The
of our
last guy who
quirks.
had this desk, Carl, was a total scatterbrain. Couldn't respect the privacy of others, kept snooping around and stuff. Had to get rid of him.
Ooh.
Let's get you clocked out, yeah? Use the time card program you used before to clock out.
So
We'll see you
as you
tomorrow.
play, you unlock more endings to the game,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what you do, and
You know the drill by now.
you sort of uncover the lore through the bits and pieces that you get, and
Come
eventually
on.
the whole
I have,
picture
like, 3
becomes
more
clear,
orientations
at
to get
least
to today.
somewhat.
Here we go. Yeah! We won! We kept our job.
Yay!
Sweet.
Good job. You got a check. $300.
Fantastic. And then the wonderful music. See, there's 4 different endings, so we're gonna go through some of those, and then I do want to get into the nitty gritty of like what's going on.
Oh yeah.
What happened? It's really fun. That line, fun fact, little story. It looks like that was a mistake. I think that was one of the few lines where like when we went into recording, Erin knew exactly how she wanted it to sound. Like,
that was a line that I needed to get exactly right.
it was like the notes, like everything, like the little notes
like-
and inflections. Like
It looks like that was a mistake. Just sort of the sort of nervous, well, of course it was a mistake, but what else are you going to say to this customer, right?
yeah, it's so fun.
I don't know. I've had a couple of awkward moments like that with people. Because
So-
I don't
it's so
know,
great.
maybe some of this came from
Hey, I'm
positions
Lauren, your
that I've
orientation
had.
coordinator. So
Also,
excited
if
about
you have
working
a bunch
in
of dialogue
e-commerce?
in your games,
I know.
people,
I know it was
skip
literally
intro
the only
buttons.
job
People will
available
want
in your
them.
county. But
So
what an
Especially if it's
opportunity.
replayable.
Yeah. So
Hey, so boss
there
man
you
needs
go.
you to sign this
Wonderful.
contract before we get started, to protect the
And
fancy trade
gonna
secrets
not-
we've got.
I'm gonna
and
be
all
annoying.
That. Oh, did you? I don't think you're supposed to be able to. Whatever. That's above my pay grade. Let's move on. I went ahead and activated your time card program. Cool. Now click clock in so you can get paid. You close time card.
You can just be a
Gonna
menace.
need you to open that back up.
And every choice you make also has these things where Lauren will
Any
If
day
you just
now.
keep
yeah,
waiting.
you keep waiting.
Yeah.
So every decision not only has like the result,
Waiting on you, bud.
it also has like customized waiting things. And there's a whole bunch of things going on where like I think we have a annoyance score of like how annoyed Lauren is at any given time. We have like how many times you've waited. There's a lot of things going on to where she'll actually say like at the end, she'll have like unique dialogue or whatnot later on in the game.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we
she
go in.
keeps a
Now,
mental
don't make
list
this
of
any
all
more
the things
difficult
you've
than it
done as a
needs to be.
player,
Just click
and
clock
she'll
in.
recount some of that back to you at the end of the game.
Yeah. And even this one. So now we've made the decision to go back in and we could clock in, or we could do this a second time.
Oh, that's how it is, huh? You just want to sit here and waste my time? I can't believe you. Other people would kill for this job.
Ooh.
Just open it back up. If you care about this job, please just clock in. I'll make sure the check is
And then
payable
it just-
to grade A
it just
moron.
doesn't,
Let's just move on.
It's like
I went ahead and
okay.
disabled the time card program. Normally, you would have access to all of your programs during a typical workday, but to smooth out onboarding,
And
we enable and
programming.
disable them as we go.
So
Don't
fun.
ask.
Mhm.
The head honchos are control freaks. Okay, I just enabled. Great. So here's your inbox. Oh crap, those are Carl's old emails. Sorry about that. Wonder where he ran off to. Anyway.
Ooh.
This is where you'll receive mail regarding
What's in
your
the
job,
trash?
like disciplinary write-ups,
I don't know. I'm
time
not sure
off
if we should
request
check.
denial notices, and invitations to the
Oh,
annual
we'll
mandatory
check.
barbecue. Whoa. I didn't tell you to open that folder, did I? You just couldn't help yourself. Insubordination is grounds for termination.
I
you
love
know.
it.
It is now absolutely critical that you listen to my instructions exactly from now on. This is a warning. I just finished setting you up with CustoCall.
Feels like okay.
Go ahead and
here we
open
go.
that up. This is the bread and butter of your position. Basically,
no.
well, with an attitude like that, we wouldn't want you talking to customers anyway. Okay, so at the end of your shift, which is now, a report is generated that needs to be sent off to management. It's just called report.txt.
Delete it.
Should be on the desktop. Just right-click
Get
it,
rid of it.
click send, and then don't delete that. Okay, it's in the trash bin, so it's not totally
I'm
lost.
gonna hang up on her.
That was rude, to say the least. Just open it up and send it from there. I mean, you kind of need me for your first day, but by all means, if you feel like you can handle it alone, be my guest. Just open it up and send it from there.
Okay. What do you
Go ahead
want?
and delete it from the trash.
Okay.
You couldn't even do that right? Seriously, why rub salt in the wound? Do you enjoy causing such mayhem and destruction? Oh, well, look at me. Click, click, click. I destroy files. So cool. You're so cool. Just kidding. You're
You're
awful. Don't bother clocking out. What am I saying? You aren't even clocked in. A Nexus security official will escort you off the premises
That line
shortly.
only shows
Good
up
luck
if you
on
don't
your
clock
future
in.
endeavors. You'll need it.
Ooh. Fourth missing person reported. Nobody knows where they're all going. Wonderful.
I think my favorite ending is the one where you just keep hanging up on her.
Yeah, let's get that one.
And that one's real easy
We
to
have
get.
some comments here. Earlier, Steve, am I supposed to be getting a sense of dread? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Alice says, oh God, I'm having Amazon customer service flashbacks. And you worked in customer service as well, right, Aaron?
I've done my fair share of customers calling about issues that they're having and me having to deal with that. So a little bit is based off of my own experience, but it's mostly just, kind of how I imagined a job like this would go if the company was evil and made people disappear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Hey, I'm Lauren. Hey, so
Skipping
boss
you,
man
Lauren.
needs you to sign this contract before we get started, to protect the,
No. I ain't signing nothing.
That was rude, to say the least.
Go ahead and close out of the contract for now.
Sure.
Great. Let's get you clocked in. I went ahead and activated your time card
And
program.
then hang up.
Go ahead and double click on it to open it up.
Get out of here. I don't need you. I can do my work.
I mean, you kind of need me for your first day, but by all means, if you feel like you can handle it alone, be my guest. Oh,
Yeah, we can handle it alone.
Did you? I don't think you're supposed to be able to. Whatever. That's above my pay grade.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lauren.
All right. I know I said that if you thought you could handle it alone, you should try. I lied. You shouldn't. That's above my pay grade. Let's move on. I went ahead and activated your time card.
So she
cool.
gets back
Now,
to the
clock
last
in
thing that she
so you
said
can get paid.
in case the
Yeah.
player didn't hear it when they hung up.
And that was the one of the harder things to program was to remember, like, there's some parts that we want the player to be able to hang up and like go back to, but there's other parts, like especially custo call, when we have multiple characters talking to each other. We can't have Lauren say like, don't hang up on me, and then go back in the middle of a conversation. So we
actually covered that option.
Yeah.
We just disabled it.
Yeah,
Because
so
it's not on screen.
Part, it's a full screen application.
Fine.
Yeah, it's a full screen, so you can't.
Perfect. Go ahead and close out of this program now.
How about no?
You clocked out already? Don't you want to get paid? Clock back in. We've still got more work to do. Okay, great. Let's get back to business here.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. I don't get paid enough to deal with this. You have some sense in you after all. Just close the program now. I went ahead and disabled the time card program. Normally,
Hanging up again.
Eventually, you hit my favorite
Yeah,
ending.
this is your final
normally
warning.
you would have access to all of your programs
And then here we
during a
go.
typical workday.
You think, oh, I finally got rid of her. Uh-oh.
All right, I get it. Security is on the way. I don't want to waste my time on you. Have a nice life. Or don't. I don't care. You mean nothing to me.
My favorite. All phones mysteriously vanish. No one knows where they're all going. That's my favorite one.
She got so sick of the phone being mean to her that she just got rid of all of the phones.
All of the phones. They're all gone
They're
now.
gone now.
All right. So before we do true ending, I actually have some goodies I want to show.
Sure.
We're going into the depths of the game now. So yes, as if anyone has any questions about the game or anything, put them in the chat, and I will look over and we can get to those and address some of those. I want to show a few things that I think really helped. So this was a jam game that we made in a week. Originally, we were trying to do a 2-day jam, but we decided to save ourselves. And not do that.
Funny story, we initially started this around the time that another jam was starting. So we started it as it was a 2-day jam, I think, that started at the exact same time as a week-long jam.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the weekly game jam on itch. And we were going to submit it to the 2-day jam, but after the 2-day point, we were like, this is a great start, but
Yeah.
it's not done. So we took the time to give it the love that it needed to be where it was supposed to be, and then we submitted it to the week jam.
Yeah. And I'll actually get a bigger view for our wonderful stream here. I will zoom in a little more so you can see this. So this is kind of the inner workings of how he did things. We had this is our flow chart, and this is basically the systems of the game and like how they work together. So this is the first thing we did. I think we probably wrote a few lines of dialogue just to get a sort of feel of like the tone of the game. But we wrote this out, and we wrote like only a few of the permutations of like boot up, call incoming, answer, decline, and it can keep going, decline, and then eventually you answer. So there's the monologue, register. We were going to do a name check.
At one point we were going to have a box where you can type your name in, and if you typed in like fart or something like that, she would say like, that's really mature of you. Wow.
Yeah.
In a professional environment, no less.
Yeah.
But that ended up being something that the player would have seen for maybe 2 seconds that wouldn't really affect the gameplay all that much. And if we were doing like a month jam, maybe that would be something we could implement.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like something that wasn't worth the time.
Yeah, and we would have had Catherine sitting there like forever.
Every single name.
Yeah.
No.
But it is good. And then already go check inbox. And then we had like, I don't know where these things went, but we had some more over here: answer calls, send report, and then we had the game. So this is kind of where we started. And from here, it was nice because we had an idea of all the gameplay systems we needed. And then we made the script. So 14 pages long. We made a script, and it's big. We had a few copies of the script. I can't find one of them. So pro tip for the script, and we eventually made another one. Once you kind of write it out, we labeled each line of dialogue, so we could have a database of sorts that we could say like for implementation, this was a lifesaver. So like, let's find this one, L19.
This is the bread and butter of your position.
This is the bread and butter of also the bread and butter of organization. So we also had a script that I can't currently find that has every single line labeled, and that's super important. It's a lifesaver for implementation and recording. We split this by like tempo. So it was important to us that like the comedic timing was good, so you don't see the punchline in the same sentence that you can see the setup. So all the dialogue was cut in a specific way. So
I wanted the subtitles to not show you the punchline before she said the punchline, because that would kind of just sort of preemptively ruin the joke if you're reading faster than you can listen, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
wanted the subtitles and the voice to be pretty in sync.
Yeah. And it worked wonderfully. Especially with those labels, it's super, super good. Uh, for a jam, we wrote the entire thing. So we wrote this together. A lot of this, once we had the flow of like the systems, we knew exactly like what dialogue we needed to write. And for the writing process, Aaron and I basically were just in a call for a while and just sort of ad libbed. And then we were like, okay, we like that or we don't like this. Um, and it was a very, very collaborative process. Like it really helped with limiting writer's block just to have someone to bounce the ideas off of. Um,
Definitely, yeah.
yeah. And did you want to talk a little bit more on that? And I have a few more things to say on it.
Sure. Yeah. No, we just it was great because you could have an idea for something and maybe it's not all fully coming together and you bring that up and then I mean like I would bring up an idea that I had that was kind of half baked and then Brad would just like take that to the finish line or vice versa, and it was a lot of these scenarios we were just laughing, like trying to make ourselves laugh and like come up with like funny things that could happen, that we could implement relatively easily. So we were just kind of thinking about, okay, is this difficult to implement? Is this something the player is going to enjoy having to do, or is this an option that people will try? And then just trying to make the player feel known by the game, like
Hmm.
those extra little bonus lines. And then I said something like, or when we were going through all of the dialogue with, don't bother clocking out. And I said, wait, what if the player just doesn't bother clocking in at all? Should we just have a line for that? And so that they feel that their actions have affected the game in some meaningful way. So and it's one of those things where it's like the telltale games, like so and so will remember that thing, where it like doesn't quite affect the game as much as you would think, but if there's a line in there that responds directly to player actions, usually that's enough of a facade that the player goes, oh, it looks like something changed because of the thing that I did. So while there are different endings and things like that, there's actually very few of them, because making multiple endings is very time consuming.
Hmm. Yeah. And
So making a couple of endings and then having some variance within those endings, depending on actions, um, is way less time consuming.
yeah, and it's fun too. Like you feel good as a player when you're immediately like rewarded. Um, and yeah, the writing process, like I think we took the first day and then definitely some of the second day was just on writing. Um, a lot of it was like, yeah, just trying to find a happy balance. We didn't want to go too unrealistic to the point that it's with a tone like this where it's a comedy game first, but there's also like this mystery element to it of like someone's gone missing. We're gonna get to that later. Um, we don't want to go too comedic because it'll impact the mystery. We also don't want to go too dark because then it'll like be weird. I think
Right.
we hit like a very balanced middle. Um, and
There's
bonus.
some creepy parts and some
Oh
funny
yeah.
parts.
Oh yeah. And I do love like every line of dialogue. Like we definitely collaborated on. And then there's a few of them where like because in the writing process, like I probably definitely brought the more like some zany lines that's just like, no, we can't put that um, in the game. It's too crazy. Um, but whenever Lauren is evil, it's like, yes, we got to like make her just pop off. Like there's evil Lauren and good Lauren, and like it's fun, you know?
It's kind of nice, and there's good Lauren, and then there's like kind of a more neutral, hey, like you seem to be doing your best, but I'm a little skeptical about you, Lauren. And then there's the evil Lauren,
Yeah.
where it's just
Um,
like, oh, you might have accidentally closed out of that, but that's fine. But then the second time around, she's like, okay, now I know that you did that deliberately, and she gets a little upset at you.
so I just
Someone in
Steve,
chat,
yeah, go ahead and read that.
yeah, I was gonna say, someone in chat, you know this person?
Yeah, that's my friend Steve Zab, but
Oh, okay,
it's a great
gotcha.
question.
Okay. So Zap for that in chat says menu-based GUI games are such a unique and specific genre. Why did y'all make the game in this way?
Ooh,
So it's
yay!
important I get the y'all in there.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi,
I'll
Steve.
go first, and then I'll have Aaron follow up. So one, we our normal trades are whatever, or what we're good at is like me. I like doing like gameplay designy stuff and programming stuff, and definitely like writing narrative. And Aaron does like sound and music and writing and stuff. But we neither of us had ever made art for a game before. Um, I do think some of that, like especially since we were doing this all on our own, and Erin made all the art on her own. Um, like that's definitely important. um, to
I'm not particularly experienced with normal character forms. I can't really draw people or animals very well. Um, but I have some experience in Photoshop, etc. So, and just designing user interfaces and things like that. So I thought, we'll kind of lean more into the graphic design side of things with a fun coat of pixel paint, just to kind of
Mhm.
see if we can make something that looks convincing, and it kind of fit into the method of the game anyway, because if it's all from that perspective, it seems like you're really playing it as an employee, or rather than if we made a different genre of game, the whole narrative idea might not have made as much sense. So I guess
Mhm.
it just made more sense to put them in the chair and give them the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah. It's also like I love OS games too.
Yeah.
Before we had this the same scene actually. I didn't even bother. It's called Computer. I didn't even bother like changing things out. Before we did this, I one day I just wanted to make a fake OS in Unity. So I was poking around and doing like little UI stuff, um, just for fun, making windows open and close and stuff. And so I always wanted to make a game with that, but the opportunity never arose. And I love games like Emily is Away, which use OS, and it's a narrative game. And so yeah, part of that definitely seeped into this game for sure. Um, and then real quick on implementation, uh, the UI disables and enables because you get some like you basically there's a counter on how many times you've like clicked to enter things, and clicking on something again will like reopen it and refresh it. So if you're at the end of the game and if custo call or if clock in was active and enabled in the scene, you could effectively restart the game from that point. So how I did it was I had a few classes, and this is a year ago code, so don't go easy on me, everybody. I had a few classes, and basically um, each game object would handle each each thing, like each topic, and it would inform the player choice manager of like big choices that happened, um, and then it would pass it off to the next one. So it'll say like, okay, right now it's intro slide manager is the one going, and then down the road it'll basically say like, okay, I'm not going to do anything, now you do something, now you do something. And it works out really really well to design that way because um, it was like I was designing smaller sections of the game and then just making them go together by like forcing them to of saying like, okay, now it's your turn, now it's your turn. um, and I definitely recommend that because it made testing a lot easier. Because with a game with, I think this has 400 lines of dialogue. um,
Yeah.
we played it a lot to make sure that the dialogue was all right, the voiceover was all right, that everything was implemented correctly, and if there was a problem and we wanted to retest it to make sure it got fixed, having them sectionalized like this really helped because um, I could have there's a test block where I could like activate and disactivate things from just debugging. So I can look at the individual systems instead of like having to play the whole game over and over and over again. Um, So
It's
definitely
just
recommend that.
a good way to. It's like a checkpoint system for testing and all that, and it was easy to kind of jump into. Oh, we have a bug in this section of the game. So just starting in that section and trying to recreate it immediately is a really great way to troubleshoot.
Yeah, and it saves so much time. I didn't have this for the like I the testing features came later in development than they should have. I'll just say that. There was a time where I was listening to and there was no skip button back then, so I was listening to that intro a lot. Um, but it was fun. It was still fun every time. Um, but yeah, pretty neat stuff. Um, let's go back in and do you want to do the good ending?
Sure, yeah.
I love this music.
This was my first time doing something kind of relaxing and jazzy, like something you would hear in maybe an elevator in this company.
Oh yeah, no, I like the jazz vibes. Um, fun fact: before we hit the end, before we hit the good ending, I do want to. Catherine knocked this out of the park, insanely. Um, I do want to,
Absolutely.
yeah. I actually want to talk about that for a second. When we were writing this script for the game, and we hadn't picked a name for Lauren yet, and in early versions of the script, I swear by it, the work in progress name for the character was Catherine, like with the 2 dots and like everything like that. In my mind, it was like, okay, the character could be named Catherine. Then later we decided, no, the character's name is Lauren. And when it came time to looking for a voice actor, um,
Guess
Andrew
who? Guess who
Andrew was like, you should
was
ask
sort of
Catherine.
bestowed? Exactly.
And it was just like this weird
It was made to
sort of
happen.
coincidence. It was made to happen. And so we reached out to Catherine, and Catherine was so generous with her time.
Thank you,
Thank
Catherine. You're the
you.
best.
Seriously, amazing. I'm actually gonna, so we don't have the restart button, but seriously, wonderful. I'm gonna load this back up.
I
But
think I just so easy to work with, and just so quick with like understanding exactly the tone that we were talking about. And like, yeah, a lot of the time it would be, the first take, and it's just like, yep, that's it. Well, okay, great, next next line. Which was awesome because we had so many lines to get through, and I was worried that we were going to take up a lot of their time, and I was just concerned that, it's like, oh, this is a lot of work to do. I really hope that, they're into this game as much as we are, because she was like, I mean, just first take champion, like all the
yeah,
way through that. There were a couple lines that are tricky, but like, that was just mostly down to us not expressing the tone very well. But it just sort of clicked, and it was super super great to
yeah,
work with them on the whole project.
yeah, and they it's fantastic because Catherine did a coincidentally another OS trailer before this. They worked on a trailer for one of Andrew's games for Global Game Jam, and then Catherine helped us with this one. It was like the first time in game, and now Catherine's like been hired by places and is in games, and it's just super super cool. I hope she pops off and we can say like we
Oh
were
yeah,
there.
100%.
um,
100%.
and later on after this, she was in another OS game, and that's coming
Oh,
to Steam,
right.
I think, Out of Control.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
It's just
so
funny.
excited about that. It's so cool.
I hope she doesn't mind like being the OS like champion for
I don't know.
her
It's
little
just
jam
something
indie
about the
games. It's just something
um
about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I just want to touch on that, and then let's go into the true ending.
The true
Hey,
ending.
so Bossman needs you to sign. Great. Let's get you clocked in. I went ahead and activated your time card program. Go ahead and double click on it to open it up. Cool. Now click clock in so you can get perfect.
I
Go
just love
ahead
how
and
you
close
can
out of
be a
this program now.
menace. Just fun.
You clocked out already? Don't.
You should turn
You
subtitles
must
on.
hate
Oh,
money.
good call.
I'll put you down as a volunteer. I went ahead and disabled the time card program. Normally, you
You
have
must
access to
hate
all of your
money. I'll
programs
put you
during a
down as
typical
a
workday,
volunteer.
but to smooth out
That's a good
onboarding,
line.
we enable and disable them as we go.
Uh,
Don't ask. The head honchos are control freaks. Okay, I just enabled your inbox program. Open it up so I can train you on email. Great.
And
So here's your inbox. Oh crap, those are Carl's old
so
emails.
Carl's old emails.
Sorry about that.
There's a
Wonder where
few.
he
There's
ran
some
off
texts
to.
that basically say like
Anyway,
there's
this is where
something
you'll
going
receive mail
on.
regarding your job, like disciplinary
If
write-ups,
you were to
time
screen
off
cap this,
requests
it's
and
very
notices, and invitations to the annual
distressing.
mandatory barbecue. You should have a welcome. Whoa!
Confidential.
I didn't tell
Whoa.
you to open that folder, did I? You
just
couldn't
basically,
help yourself.
the line,
Insubordination is grounds for
we do
termination.
not have a
It
body
is now
count, is so
absolutely
funny.
critical that you listen to my instructions
But like the
exactly
whole
from
idea
now
is you're
on.
supposed to
This
glance
is
at
a
it real quick,
warning.
get a couple of keywords, and go,
Okay,
oh,
I
wait,
disabled the inbox.
there's something
I
going
just
on
finished
here.
setting you up with CustoCall. This is the bread and butter of your position. Well, with an
No,
attitude
it's
like
not.
that,
Not
we
if
wouldn't
I
want you
close it.
talking to customers
Nope.
anyway. Okay, so at the end of your shift, which is now,
Ooh.
a report is generated that needs to be sent off to management. It's just called report.txt.
And
Should
you
be on the
can
desktop. Just
send the
right-click it,
report
click send, and then
to
click the report's email, which should be
some other
reports at
emails,
snexustech.com.
Yes.
but only if you've done a certain number of like bad
Right-click?
things.
You know about
Mhm.
right-clicking, yeah?
So I think it's if you find the email or whatever.
It's like the
Basically,
only other button on the
it's
mouse.
the only other button on the mouse. And
Just right-click the document to pull up the
this is
context
funny.
menu. Click send and select the Snexus reports email.
Nope. Or so this part, the
Right-click on the document. Left-click on send. And then left-click on reports
So
at
sassy.
snexustech.com.
So awesome.
It's just
She wants to go
3
home.
clicks.
Yeah, it's been a hard
The
day.
first one is a right click, and then the second 2 are left clicks. This can't be that hard.
It keeps going. It
Yeah,
just keeps going.
there we go. So you can do that, or there could be hidden documents. You know anything about that?
Yeah, possibly.
What? Oh, if I right click not on the document, but right click on show hidden files. Huh.
Interesting.
Let's try it.
Interesting.
All right, the jig is up. You know what's
My
going
name is
on
Carl.
here,
List of
don't you?
victims. Save
Did you
yourself.
know
Message
Carl?
for my family.
Never mind,
They're
don't
watching.
answer that.
They know everything.
Security is
Burial
on their
locations.
way, so if I were you, I'd
Oh,
be
no.
very afraid. Did you update your will before
This
coming into
music.
work today? Let's hope you did.
Oh yeah.
What's your game plan here anyway?
Which one should
Reporting
we
us to the
send?
authorities? You and what
Ooh.
army? I
This
thought
is
you were
the
different. I thought you wouldn't
GLaDOS
have to
battle
see
of
such a
our
bitter
game.
end.
Here we go. Send
Whatever
to the
you do, don't
FBI.
right-click any of these
Yeah,
files.
that's their
Wait,
email.
Wait, no, don't!
Yeah, Snexus kills. Whistleblower alerts FBI. We really should have figured this out sooner.
Yeah,
Oh,
the company's been taking employees out back, so to speak.
yep. Fantastic. Such a cool game. Like, there's so many. The different endings are like really fun. I love the like interaction in the middle. It's funny watching people play this because for certain parts, like for Custo Call, whenever you have to talk to the person on the phone, and the joke is like you can't. Sorry. Kind of like a Legend of Zelda, like Link can't talk. Kind of. I don't know. That's how I imagine
Yeah.
it.
It's
Whenever
a
people stream it-
joke about the limitations of certain video games.
Yeah, and whenever
You
people
can't just have a conversation with an AI. We're not there yet.
Whenever people stream it, though, they try. It's really funny. They'll be like, "Hello, hello," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so funny." That'd be crazy. And then the other thing is, some of them are very obedient. Whenever people play, like I remember I had like
It's really weird. Yeah.
I had a lot of people play, and it's unfortunate. Like the only like if we can do like postmortems type stuff. I love this game. We'll talk about that like do a little. I have some sappy things to say later, but like the thing that was like the most interesting was when people would play it and they would follow all the rules and reach the end, and then they'd say, "Oh, that was cool," and it's like, um, you didn't actually see any interesting things. Like it's a fun game to play through, like following the rules. But I think in a lot of games they don't. I feel like in a lot of games the game encourages you to follow the rules because that's how it's meant to be played. Where this game, um, the game like we want you to break the rules almost. You know. Um,
And that kind of came about after just sort of learning how good playtesters were when Brad and I were working on other games. Because
mhm,
I always had the urge to jump in and go, "Oh no, you're supposed to solve the puzzle like this." But then I kept telling myself, like, "No, no, no, that's like actually really bad to do because this is great information as to like what about your game is broken." Um, so listen to playtesters and let them kind of break things because sometimes they discover bugs that you had no idea. And like that's the whole point of playtesting, right? So I had to learn to sort of like take a back seat and not do anything. But I thought,
mhm.
what if we've thought of everything? Like, what if everything you can do in the game we can make some snarky comment about? Like, what if we what if we just went that route instead? And
Yeah, it's
that's kind of
fantastic.
like the basis for the idea of the game started.
Yeah, and it's also cool. Like I ended up playing the Stanley Parable after making this, and I won't spoil it. We're not going to do spoilers. I know Aaron really likes it too. Um, but like one solution that the Stanley Parable did is if you follow the rules, like if you follow the narrator's rules, the narrator has like an explicit, like a very explicit monologue at the end that says like good job for following the rules, like, but what if you did this? What if you would have did this instead? What if you would have did this? And it was like, oh, what if I did that? um, and then you play that game over and over and over again, and try to like explore everything. And I think there's some similarities between this and that, um, but if I were to do something like that again, like I had a few people like say like, "Oh, I played a Swift and Successful Onboarding," and I was like, "Oh, which experience did they have? Did they have the one where they were like hanging up on Lauren and pranking Lauren and having fun, or did they have the one where they were just like going through an office day? Like, what was their experience like? Um,
And
Especially if they
we
only
we
played
tried
through
to
it
convey
once."
that.
Yeah,
We
and we
tried
I
to
think we did a
convey
decent
the
job.
thing a little bit at the end of the good ending or whatever, where like the good job you followed the rules. She has
Had
a
to get
little
rid of him.
monologue about Carl. Yeah, had to get rid of him as just sort of like a so if I was snooping around and things, maybe things would have gone differently.
Yeah, so we
Um,
we did add
so
we did add a little of
kind
that
of
too.
yeah, and then having the restart button at the end kind of implies like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe there's more to this. So we
Yeah.
tried our best without making it really explicit, but I think we probably could have made that a little
Maybe
clearer to
maybe
people.
just like one little notch up, but that's yeah, that's like a more post-mortem, I guess, if I was thinking of things that we could have done. But overall, like I love this game. This is
I do
probably
too.
like this is the first time Aaron and I have worked on a lot of projects prior to this together, or two prior to this, and then we worked on this, and then Boo in Town. Um, Aaron and I work really well together. It was a joy to work with Aaron. But this was the first time that I made a game that was representational of like games that I like to play. Um, because a lot of the games that I made prior to this, I love platformers. We did support system, and I do love platformers. But besides Celeste and like Mario games and like the big players, um, I don't really like to sink my teeth into like unknown platformers, I guess, or
Hmm.
it's not something that I usually like go gravitate towards. But I love narrative games, easily my favorite type of game. And I love this game so much because it was the first time that I was making something that I'm like a fan of, um, which was really really cool to do. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's a fun short little game that a lot of people liked. Um, fun fact, and I don't. It's one of those things where this was a jam game, and it was also on itch.io's top HTML games for almost all of 2020. So we've actually had thousands and thousands of people play this. Um,
which is pretty surprising to me.
yeah,
I didn't
for
really expect any traction.
yeah, for a submission to Weekly Game Jam week 142. Like this wasn't even like a big jam or like one that was like hyped or anything. Um, and there's a lot of things that contribute to that. Like definitely having a web build is I highly recommend doing a web build because it makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Um, I think that was the main reason for success. And then
One less click for players. They just hop on and play it right there.
yeah, so definitely I recommend doing that, especially for small jam games. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things where the reception was pretty like unexpected, I think, um, and really, really, really cool. We worked hard on it. So,
Definitely, definitely.
what does this
Um,
game mean to you, Aaron, when you think about it?
a lot actually. I This was one of the only things keeping me sane when lockdown started.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I really enjoyed having some sort of goal to work towards during that week, and just sort of keeping track of things and doing time management and all that, and just being able to. Um, I really in game development, I really live for those magical moments where you both or like the whole team really settles on an idea that they're all really excited about. And then that sort of just like kicks the energy up a level and makes it
Hmm.
seem like, oh, like this is going to be so fun. And like, hyping yourself up about the decisions that you're making and the ideas that you have. So whenever we came up with a funny line of dialogue or an idea, they're like, oh, what if the player does this and this happens? And then we're like, oh yeah, and like we would go back and forth like that, and like those little moments made it really worth it for me. It
Yeah,
was so fun,
that time
and
was.
always, working with Brad is a pleasure every single time. It's so much fun, and I think it's just that we both like very similar games, and we both kind of have a good eye for scope creep and sort of is this necessary, is this going to be worth the time that we invest in it, and then basically just optimizing the limited time we have with what it is we can actually get done within the time frame.
Hmm.
um,
Super important. Yeah, and yeah, I forget. Like, so for this, I remember when we made this game for the week. I just recently was like laid off, right? And you were in a similar boat, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I had left my job because I wasn't super comfortable with how they were handling COVID.
gotcha.
And I mostly just did that for my own safety. And I was looking for other work, but I said, hey, I might as well just take a week off and do a game jam,
Yeah,
right?
and it
I've
was
got savings; it'll
so
be fine.
fun. Yeah, this is
I'm so glad I did.
yeah, me too. And yeah, working with you, Aaron, is always like just amazing. The stuff we've made. This is our third project out of four that we've done. Usually when I work with people, like not usually when I work with people, it's nice to work with someone that you know their style and like their
Definitely,
way of
yeah.
doing things. And I feel like this during this project,
After
it
after
really
doing,
showed um,
yeah,
that we just know. Like whenever we were making this, I knew like I had these thoughts of like, okay, this is how Aaron's gonna want it, or this is what Aaron would probably think of this. This is how Aaron's gonna do this. This is how we're gonna do this. Like, um, we have a good synergy, like a very good creative synergy when we work together, and
yeah.
it's always a
And I feel like
pleasure.
that developed over
Oh,
working on multiple
definitely.
projects together, and learning everyone's strengths and weaknesses involved in game development, and just kind of figuring out, what is it that we can do, what is it we need to scale back, and then just sort of challenging ourselves to try things that we don't normally work on. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what this game was. This was like, okay, if we all do what we know how to do really well, that was support system, I think.
Yeah.
For me, just from like I don't know, because I did a little bit of level design and
Yeah. Oh
just
yeah, we were
that
all
sort of
we were
stuff
all
as well.
designing
But
it up.
like
Yeah.
it was mostly the sound and the atmosphere and the just sort of musical tone of that game. And yeah, I mean, just sort of like as we worked on projects together, we learned what our strengths were. And for this project, I really wanted to stretch and try something that I don't normally do.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. And we had always done action games. Rave Boss was a top-down beat 'em up. Support System was a platformer. So rather than having games with arrow key controls, we just decided, hey, let's kind of go off the rails and do something that's kind of a point and click narrative thing,
Hmm.
because that didn't seem like our strong suit. But that was just enough challenge to make that hurdle interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just wow, it's yeah, you hit the nail on the head, really. Yeah, it's just it's really fun, and I definitely recommend if anyone were to do a jam game for narrative. Narrative games, they're very content heavy. So just
Yeah,
advice for jammers, if you're going to do a narrative game, they're very content heavy, especially writing. And I've seen a lot of jam teams and such, but like I think the reason this was so successful was because we both were involved greatly in the writing process. So we both knew exactly what we needed to make. Um,
right.
so
That's
everything we
I feel like
wrote,
that's kind of how things tend to get a little shaky with narrative titles, especially in larger groups, is because the content team and the development and implementation team are a little separated while they're focused on their own respective tasks, and then
mhm,
when they get back together to try to like put those pieces together, sometimes there's bits and pieces that need to get scrapped or reworked to kind of fit the framework that the other team was working on.
yeah,
um, so having everyone involved, or as many people as you can have involved, so they know the kind of the big picture going into it, you know exactly what you need to build and nothing more.
yeah.
Really really makes the process a lot easier.
And it also helped like with one of those things where like I just imagine a situation where say you're making a game and the artist is working on art stuff and the programmer is working on program stuff and the writer is writing the game and the writing takes a long time. um definitely writing takes a very
that
long
that
time.
was I think it took us like 2 full days to get the
Yeah,
script done.
I think so, just for the script. And it's like the most
um,
important, like in my opinion that was like the most important. Like once we had that we could do the other things. um
right.
but like I
And
just
honestly, that was the fun part, because we realized, after we were scrambling to get some of this implemented, and then we just sort of realized, if like this script is fantastic, but there's no way we're finishing this game in time for the 2 day jam.
Mhm.
Why don't we just take this script that we've made and turn this into the start of a week-long jam and give us enough time to implement and do the game the way that we intended
Yeah.
it to be done. Um, and I feel like that decision to sort of like shift gears and submit it to the other jam was what made this game come to life, because it
Yeah,
wouldn't
definitely.
nearly
It would
be,
have been a
if we
mess.
if we spent less time writing and more time
It would not have
implementing
had a
and
voiceover.
fit it within the, yeah, it would have been a shell of what it is now.
Yeah. And yeah, and the other good thing is with writing with having everybody be more involved in the writing process or like no knowledge of the writing process is it helps avoid situations where like say the writer's like, okay, time how are we gonna implement the forest scene? And the artist says, what?
Yeah,
um
what
with
forest scene?
with this, we knew exactly the programs that we needed. We knew what like as we went through, we could look at each program and be like, oh, custo call. We need this sound asset. We need this art asset and this art asset. And we kind of generated all of our asset lists from that. And the script we both knew well enough to say like, oh wait, aren't we missing this? Or aren't we did we think about this for implementation? Or like what happens if you do this?
And
Um
oh, there was so many points where one of us would remind the other of like something important. It was like, oh,
yeah.
thank you, because
Yeah, so
we would
many
have
things.
entirely forgotten about that.
so many things. Um, but yeah, it was super fun to make, and yeah, I don't know. Do you have any closing statements or anything else you'd like to talk about, Aaron?
I'm not sure. I think this game is just something that I'm always going to be insanely proud of,
Same.
just because of how it all came together and how short amount of, you know. And I wish it could have been longer, but with the time that we had, I feel like this was it was a good exercise in making a game that we weren't really familiar with.
Hmm.
Just making a type of game that we hadn't tried yet, and especially leaning into writing because um, with some of the dialogue in Rave Boss that we wrote, like that was kind of cheesy one liners, um, to kind of give the game some humor and all that. But it didn't really feel like we were making a story and and all that. And we had a small contained narrative there. And
Hmm.
Support System was a narrative based game, but it was completely silent. It was told through
Yeah.
gameplay and through just visuals and sound. So I don't know. I think it was a great exercise to try something that was so clearly narrative driven that there was an actual narrator in the game. And I've always wanted to make a game that kind of pushes back against the player a little bit and makes them feel like their actions have consequences and all that. Because I always find those super fun. So with the amount of time that we had and with the synergy that we had, I think it's the best it could have been in a week.
Hmm.
Um, but making this, maybe like slightly longer or with more endings, or maybe I could have spent a little more time on the art or something like that. There's always a list of things
But
that
it's
you put
perfect.
together of like how you would have changed certain things after the fact. But when it comes down to it, I'm really satisfied with the way that it turned out as it is.
Me too.
Um, I think it's one of the games that I can say is it just sort of it feels like everything got done that needed to. And it was a great exercise, and it's definitely a good learning opportunity for me, especially when it comes to writing for games and working with people on narrative based stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I 100% like sure there could be little things, but like it's so perfect the way it is. Like
Yeah,
it's a complete experience. It doesn't like it is what it is. We got the point across, so we got the decision makes like I think we did a really really fantastic job. Um I'm very very proud of this.
absolutely. Yeah.
Also plugging this is uh the dialogue trees for the game. I
Oh,
used
yeah.
Unity dialogue system for Unity by Pixel Crushers was the thing. Just um, how we trigger dialogue and like there's a bunch of custom stuff also like going on with like on each of the sequences and each of the things. But just this general layout was really nice to be able to see like the branching dialogue. That's pretty much all I used it for was these branching dialogues. But yeah, there's just so many like different scenarios that could happen and stuff. Yes, does anyone in the chat have any questions? Not sure. I think I wanted to sort of be as comprehensive as possible and cover a lot of wide things. But if you had like any exact questions or anything, I'm sure we'd be able to answer those.
Yeah, yeah.
But this has been so fun. I'm happy we got the chance to talk about this and to stream it.
I feel like we just sort of made it, and then we were so we
Yeah, we
were
went on to the
so
next
wiped out.
project, I think. Like all like
Um,
we took like a
yeah,
break and
yeah.
then it was um like a month or two after I was working on Non-Essential, and then like a month or two after that it was like Witch Wizard, and it's like bam bam, and then Aaron has uh music coming out. It's fantastic. Go give it a listen.
Oh,
Sorry
thank you.
Shape. Um Absolutely fantastic. Um so yeah, I'll go ahead and go here to our closing slide screen. Oh yes. So Thanks so much for joining. We had a lot of fun. This was a talk by me, Brad Kraling. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter's there. And then Aaron.
And me,
Yes.
Aaron Stearns. I'm at Tron Binary on Twitter because I like light cycles. I think they're cool, and I'm also non-binary.
Yay! Fantastic.
And thank
I
you
like
very
that
much to
explanation.
Seattle Indies for hosting.
Yeah, and also voice of
and
Lauren,
just everything
Catherine.
that you do.
Thank you, Catherine. And we have Catherine's
Thank
Twitter
you, Catherine.
and Twitch there. And thanks for the show. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And thanks to Seattle Indies for having us host on this stream. This is really great. All right. From everyone at the from the Swift and Successful Onboarding team, have a great rest of your night, everyone. All
everyone
two
at
of us.
Nexus Technologies.
Yes, everyone at Nexus Technologies, have a great rest of your night. And thank you for coming to the talk. Thank you. Take care.